here. We made it. Hallelujah. I got busy in the chat room there, and I forgot to hit the start button on the board. So we started a minute late there, but that's okay. All good. We're here. I believe that's either Jose or Jesse that's there. I got your mics are open, dear.
It would be me. Hi,
hey,
everybody.
There we go. And there's Jose. I knew he was trying to log in. There you go. We're all here. All right, great. Good job, good job. We got a lot of things to cover, so you guys can kick in here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments. And then I want to get into some of the stuff we're covering in chat as well. But I got two things in the news here that I'm going to read, and we'll just do one at a time and discuss them because there's a couple of things I found within and with our newfound knowledge for those who have been reading the TRA and whatnot. I just want you to kind of listen to what the article states and then just kind of think in the back of your mind, well, what is it really saying? What is it, what's the pros and cons to all this, if you will, and why there's so much of an uproar. The first, these are very, very short. The first one we're going to talk about here is the UN recognizes State of Palestine. Now, for those of you who have not known, Palestine has always been part of it's a division of Israel. But now they've been trying to, kind of segregate, if you will. And now the UN just basically opened the door and allowed that to happen. But let's read the little ins and outs of what's going on here. United Nations voted overwhelmingly Thursday to recognize a Palestinian state, a long-sought victory for the Palestinians, but an embarrassing diplomatic defeat for the United States. The resolution upgrading the Palestine status to a non-member observer state at the UN Nations was approved by more than two-thirds majority of the 193-member world body. A vote of 138 to 9 with 41 abstentions. A Palestine flag was quickly unfurled on the floor of the General Assembly behind the Palestine delegation. Real independence, however, remains an elusive dream until the Palestinians negotiate a peace deal with the Israelis, who warn that the General Assembly action will only delay a lasting solution. Israel still controls the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and access to Gaza, and it accused the Palestinians of bypassing negotiations with the campaign to upgrade their UN status. The United States immediately criticized the historic vote. Today's unfortunate and counterproductive resolution places further obstacles in the path of peace, UN Ambassador Susan Rice says. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin, whatever his last name is, called the speech. Thank you. Called the speech by Palestine President Mohammed Abbas to the General Assembly shortly before the vote, defamatory and venomous, saying it was full of mendacious propaganda against Israel. Well, it took me a minute to actually pronounce that word out. Didn't register for a minute. Abbas had told the General Assembly that it was being asked today to issue the birth certificate of Palestine. Abbas said the vote is the last chance to save the two-state solution. After the vote, Netahani Hui, whatever his name is, said the UN moved violated past agreements between Israel and the Palestinians, and that Israel would act accordingly without elaborating what steps it might take. End of article. All right, Jose, I know you got something to say about this.
Yeah.
What you think?
The birth certificate of Palestine, huh?
That's that, huh?
Yeah, and King Benny, as they're calling him. I call him Benny the Yahoo.
There you go.
That's very interesting. I mean, the whole article has just all kinds of deep-seated connotations and implications. And I mean, it does really say something. The thing that I'm looking at, though, is how the Palestinians are going to take this. I thought Palestine already had their own country, and I believe they've been a standing country for something like 1,000 years or something like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against Israelis. I'm not against Jews or Hebrews. I am against the Zionist pigs that have been manipulating part of this world from the things that they do. But they aren't Jewish, Hebrew, or Israeli, for that matter. We all know what they are if we've done our homework. But yeah, I'm wondering how this is going to go over in both of those countries, because to me it sounds like just another manipulation of make them butt heads.
Oh, there's so much in here that it just drives me nuts. Palestine, whether it was a country, I don't know the background myself, to be honest with you. I'm out of the loop there. It's been a while. From what I'm gathering from other articles and all that, the people of Palestine are actually kind of for it. You know, they're not against it, in other words, and you know, they're kind of really like, well, whatever, you know, as far as this particular event goes. But we know what it means to be a state. Okay, it's recognizes it now once you have the official state title, and it's recognized at the UN level as then it becomes a nation, i.e., it's independent country. Right. Now, it may have been a district of some sort, it's an independent district, if you will, but it's always been in the country of, or under the country's influence of, Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Even though there's other battling factors around, the land mass has always belonged to, all of it is Israel. Now, really what it comes down to is the bad part about all this really all links into the Islamic religion. That's where it all runs problem from. People don't understand the difference between a Sunni and a Shiite, for example. And really, they're fighting each other. They've been fighting each other all these years simply because one believes that the other is a better Muslim than the other group. That's all it comes down to. That really is the historical fact of all the wars in the Middle East. I'm a better Muslim than you. Well, that's it.
Well,
because my Muslim cult is more like the Old Testament, to use a Christian Bible, right? We are diehard Old Testament as it was originally planned to be. I can have multiple wives. I can do, and this is all in our Christian Bible, folks. I'm quoting here, not Quran, although it's in both. And the same thing with the Jewish Torah or whatever. You have your Orthodox, which is more of the older teachings of the division. And then comes along the next group of Muslim. They're like, well, no, wait a minute. Muhammad, we changed that, and now we can do this, and this. And, they kind of got it all mixed up. But the easiest way to understand it all is one is Old Testament, one is Old Testament and New Testament. So the New Testament people are saying, well, hey, we're a lot better than the Old Testament people, and instead of sitting there and just letting each other live in peace, they decide to blow each other up about it. Think about it here in the United States, what the Orthodox would do, and about the Old Testament people and your King James Version people all decide to band up and say, okay, well, you New Testament Christians and Jesus believers are all a bunch of whack jobs. We're going to go kill you all. Let's have a war. And the war would last for eternity, just like this one. That's how stupid the whole war is. But now we look at this whole article in a little bit different light. And we shine the light of first of all, we know King Obama hates Israel. Israel's been a long-time ally of the U.S. We know he hates them because he's a Muslim. We also
That's
know
it.
he hates them because of the way he treated the Prime Minister of Israel when he came to D.C. It was a total disgrace. I was never more embarrassed in my life.
Well,
Okay.
not
Dude,
only that.
his ass hates us because he's Muslim.
Well, not
People
only that.
I said his ass hates us because he's freaking Muslim.
Exactly. Well, why do you think he ran on the principle of change? Greatest country in the world, let's change it. That was what he ran on, people. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And we bitch about him. I mean, come on, you get exactly what you voted for. Give me a break.
Yep.
Now we bring in and look at it through New World Order eyes. Palestine, a state. Now we have another country, another ally, somebody else we can control. And then the point that you brought up, Jose, the first thing you mentioned, which was near the end of the article about, here's the new flag, and guess what? Here's your new birth certificate.
Right.
Okay? Things make you go, because now if it's a real state, i.e. a real country, and recognized at the national level, it has a birth certificate. So now what are the citizens of that area going to be?
Slaves.
Hey, thank you very much. Yeah, so I mean there is so much hidden in this, and you know we can't blame the people over in the Middle East because they don't understand all the trickeries of the law. You know that's really going on here. But yeah, it's a really strange thing, especially when you see stuff coming out of the White House, which we're going to get into in a minute as well. And you see, like we brought this up a couple of weeks ago with, was it Mexico going to be joining the Union and becoming the 51st state to enter the United States? You know, it's
Puerto
growing.
Rico.
It's growing exponentially, folks. Okay, it's just totally madness. You know, it makes me laugh when Obama was doing his campaign and said, "Oh yeah, I visited all 57 countries or 57 states in the United States." 57? Who has 57 states or division country?
Did anybody watch the RNC? The RNC meeting that, you know, where they said, oh, we're going to give this many votes to Romney and we're going to give these many to whoever the heck the candidates were. You know, the big political committee meetings on the Democrat side of that party and the Republican side of the party. Because it's both one party. It's actually,
right.
You know, well, whatever it is. It's communistic and Marxistic and other things, but it is one party. Republicans and Democrats are the same party controlled by one higher party, and I'm trying to figure out exactly who that higher party is. You know, who gives the orders over these two.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the bankers now.
But if you look at it in its light, in what it is, the Palestinians just stopped. They are done being, what I would consider a free people. You know, strangely enough, they were a free people within the boundaries of another nation that was pretty much bound to protect them and from invasion, because to invade the Palestinians would be to invade Israel, and who has Israel's back if not the U.S., right? So in a way, in a sense, the Palestinians were very well protected, and they were probably considered a free people. Now they are an S-state. They're not a state. They are an S-state, if we want to say this correctly. And as an estate, they are owned, every single one of them.
Yeah, but ever?
Is that cold-blooded?
That's what it's all about, folks. Getting the truth out to you, hard and cold facts. You know, it's just like we did. Everybody thought it was great. You know, we were all independent country and nations, and then the 14th Amendment came along and thinking, oh, it freed the black. No, it enslaved the whole fucking, you know, Union. Yeah, hello, Palestine. You just enslaved yourself into lifetime bondage. And ultimately, it's all going to come down to New World Order. But, what are you going to do with a bunch of dumb Muslims who run around killing each other because one is a better Muslim than the other? Hello?
Well, yeah, that one, you can see that one here in the U.S., too. I mean, it gets, it's not bad, but it is competitive. You take a look at the Protestants, and the Baptists and the Methodists.
Oh, yeah. Countless. Countless.
Yeah,
Well, Chris asked in the chat room how many different, denominations exist. Now, he put Catholic denominations. Well, you got to get rid of the word Catholic because Catholicism is actually a denomination. Okay?
Right.
That is a denomination, just like all the rest. Really, what you're asking is how many denominations of Christianity exist. That's the true proper way to word that question.
Right.
Now, when you sit there and think about it, now I'm going to actually give you the definition that nobody ever hears about. What is the definition of a Christian? And it's very simple, one line. No guesses?
Say that
I'm not
again,
saying
I didn't hear you.
You're not saying it?
I'm not going to say it because I want them to hear it from you. Because
I didn't hear that question. Say it again.
What is the definition of a Christian? It's just
The
one
actual
line.
true definition or my definition?
Well, what's your definition?
I give you my definition. You're going to sit here and make fun of me.
No, I probably won't, actually.
Well, my definition of the word Christian is somebody that tries to live and... Wait, hold on. Okay, I totally screwed that up. My definition of the word Christian is somebody who tries to live their life like Christ or tries to be as Christ-like as possible throughout their life. There we go.
Excellent. And that's pretty much it. The bottom line is, in order to be considered a Christian, no matter what denomination or religion you follow, is the simple belief that Christ came, he came here, he died on the cross, and you were forgiven for your sins. That's it. That is the actual definition and what makes up a religion when they go for licensing classification of different denominations. Now, the denominations are, of course, everything else that's within the religious text that they may use. But in order to be classified as a Christian denomination or a Christian religion, you must believe in Christ. That's it. So whether you say you don't belong to a religion or denomination, if you are a believer in Christ, then you are a Christian. Doesn't matter if you belong to anything else. So what is it? We're all different sects of, not sex, S-E-X.
Yes.
I knew where your mind went, damn it. But we're all different sects of the same thing. Yeah, we just all have different sections that we follow a little bit more than others or whatever the case may be. But do you see us running around and killing each other because our belief is a little bit different? But that's what the Muslims do, folks. Okay?
well,
they're all the same. They all believe Muhammad is the prophet. They just, some believe more of the Orthodox style of ways, and Muhammad's more or less the New Testament, as Muhammad and Jesus are both the newer prophets. Jesus is the prophet, if you will, of Christianity. Muhammad is the prophet of the Muslims. Okay.
My husband told me, correct me if I'm wrong, please. My husband told me before he got too sick. We had the same exact conversation one day. I can't remember how it came up, but Muslims came up, and he had told me that they believe that if we are not of their faith, that we are inferior and we must die.
Exactly.
Well, that's what
yes.
That's what the Catholics believe.
Yep, same thing.
If you're not a Catholic, you are inferior, and you must die.
I knew that one because I was raised Catholic. That one I knew.
I was raised Catholic, deep Roman. Let me put it this way.
Roman Catholic. You're going to get much deeper than that.
My church was known as
the sermons.
My church was the Apostolic Catholic Roman Church.
There you go.
Now you break it down into its individual parts. We're talking the apostles. We're talking the Romans. We're talking the Catholics as three different separate parts coming together into one. And then as they were doing that is where you get your Christmas, which is actually the 3-day suspension where the sun for the northern part of the globe seems to be at its lowest point. It hits the bottom December 22nd, I believe, is the right day. It hits the bottom part of its lowest point in the sky as observable from the northern hemisphere. And in 3 days, it begins its new life to rise again. Welcome to Christmas.
Welcome to Christianity, folks. It has nothing to do with Jesus. This is the part that people forget. This is the part that, well, we got other stuff to get into. I want to go into a whole bunch of deep religious stuff right now. But yes, Chris, we are all infidels according to the Muslim religion. Before they kill you and behead you, they must give you the choice to accept Allah as your savior. If you do so, then you will be put into servitude because you're not a birth Muslim, you're an adopted Muslim, if you will. So you accept Allah, they don't kill you because they can't, by their own religion, they cannot kill their own. Okay, type of deal. Yet they do it all the time. So it just depends on, all right, well, which one is actually standing over you to kill you at the time of the event? Are they the Shiites or the the Shias or the Houthis and the other Yakiguklas?
Well,
because it's all a bunch of goobly gabba. To be
hey, Doc.
Yeah.
I heard some type of and I can't confirm it just yet. I'm looking into it, let's say.
I'll give you the confirmation, whatever it is, brother. Go ahead. Shoot.
But I heard that, and this is just a rumor, so y'all don't be spreading rumors.
No, never do that.
I heard that the Muslim religion, specifically Muhammad, was a creation of the Roman Catholic Church directly out of the Vatican. Back, what was that, 800 AD?
Okay.
In that area?
All right, now you want to take that one step further?
Okay.
Let's go with the assumption for a second that is the true case. Then you have to say the exact same thing about Jesus. Because if you actually read the Quran and understand who Muhammad is, and you read the Bible and understand who Jesus is, both Muhammad and Jesus were at the exact same vision of the angel, from the angel that came down, the alien who actually came down and spoke to the two of them, saying that you are going to be the prophet, blah, 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 blah. They were both present at the exact same meeting. Jesus went thinking that the alien was speaking to him and created Christianity. Muhammad went off in another direction thinking the alien was speaking directly to him, and Muhammad went off and created Muslim. That is a true story. It's in both. It's in the Bible and the Quran. They are both refer the exact same meeting with this entity, angel, demon, alien, whatever you want to call it. And they were both present at that same meeting. So if we're going to say that Muhammad was a make-believe of the Vatican for this purpose, so then is Jesus, because in both books they recite the exact same event.
Okay, so then
Think
on
about
that note, on that note, we're getting into more of the agenda of the infamous and insane Illuminati, Freemasons, call them what you will. I call them the criminals.
There you go.
But we're stepping deeper and deeper into their agenda. This and a whole bunch of really new stuff that has come out lately. And by lately, I mean it really got going in the 60s. It got a real serious kick in the ass in the 60s, mainly by the Beatles. They're the ones that really got it to going, and that's all the New Age religions. Mainly when they went to India and started doing the guru thing and all that kind of stuff, you know, they really started getting into the Hindus and well, you know, the New Age, basically, I'm just saying, New Age religions that are now here in the United States been taking from Christianity, they take from Islam, they take from wherever they possibly can, without solidly verifying what's actually going on. And they, you know, here you go, oh, everybody look at this. You know, everybody check this out. This is so much truth. And that's where, yeah, that's part of the agenda. They got that written down on the Georgia Guidestones, for crying out loud. You know, and they've been telling us about this for a very long time. Which I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna kind of make a connection here. I'm sure everybody's watched or wanted to watch the movie 1984.
Love it, have it, seen it, great movie.
Yeah, it is a really good movie.
It sucks everything that's in it is coming true nowadays, and it's going to only get worse if we don't do anything to stop it. It's sad.
Right, it is. It's all right there. And in it, I believe they kind of mention they show the religious aspect of it as to what they want as a religion, and that's where at the beginning of the movie the guy is sitting in that crowd, you know, and they're all listening to this speaker and they're all watching this monitor. And if you'll watch them, on a few of their faces, they sort of have this, oh, God's talking to me kind of a look, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 1984. Let's step forward a little bit. What was the second movie I wanted to mention? Oh, yeah, They Live. They Live actually shows a huge part of the agenda and the mind control and the programming and how they've set us up and how they've manipulated religions around, you know, not just ours, but actually all the way around the world, and they've set up what they want our religion to be, which is money. All right.
What?
Step a little bit further. You get to the movie called Network. This guy's out there. He's telling everybody the truth. You know, TV is nothing but a bunch of lies. Turn off your TVs. Go out and, you know, talk to somebody. Get a life. Do some research. Look around. Read a book. But don't just read a book that's all about fantasy. But read a book that actually will give you some knowledge. You know, don't stay so stupid to everything that's actually going on in the world. Don't think it doesn't apply to you, because it damn sure does. It applies to everybody. Well, you get past the movie network, and you start getting into there's other movies, there's other shows. Some of them are on TV, some of them are just box office types.
Yeah.
I would like to point out one more box office type, and that is Hunger Games.
Yeah, excellent.
Excellent.
Really?
It tells you what one of their end goals is, for the poor. Well, in the movie itself, you see that the rich live in this big, beautiful, beautiful city with a whole bunch of masonry and Illuminati and the so-called mysteries. It's a lot of symbolism. Well, bullshit symbolism, because a triangle is simply that. It's three angles that come together in three places. Big whoop.
No.
To me, a square is a box. And whether you're writing inside the square or you're writing outside the box, I don't care. A square is a square.
There you go.
A triangle is nothing more than a triangle. A circle is nothing more than a circle. But when you start looking at the symbolism that they attach to it, when you put belief in their symbolism, then you strip your own power and you hand it over to them. You strip yourself of the power. You give it to them. When you start believing in their symbols, when you start believing that someone else has power over you because they have a special language, that's when you start falling in their lies. Okay? Like it or not, that's a fact. You strip yourself of your own power, and you automatically give it to them. Well, in the movie, you see the young girl carried her pin as her own symbol. She had the two fingers thing, a kiss, and then put it up into the sky type of thing, which comes from her people, her village, her tribe. But the plan, that the agenda, is for the rich, we'll call them the haves, since that's a proper or a common term. There's the haves, and everybody else are the have-nots. And the haves are just one little tiny place, and they consume everything that the have-nots are producing. And then, to top it all off, to insult everything, they're going according to the agenda of 500 million or less on the planet. That's why there's 12 districts, and they're all still very small.
I'm back.
Okay. Well,
we did have a caller
to see,
ago. I just lost them, though. Dang it.
you get to seeing how they are controlling the population through having these Hunger Games, where a certain amount of people die every year, regardless. And they're always young, which is a culling of the population itself, but also a culling of the future population. You see that? When you chop off a certain bloodline, that ends it right there. That ends it. That woman can no longer have children. You kill that boy, he can no longer have children. So you're splitting the bloodlines there. Well, you start asking yourself, what is this? What are the haves contributing to all that? I mean, do they have a way, is there a killing for them? Do they have to participate in the Hunger Games? You assume they do, because in the movie it doesn't specifically tell you that they don't. But I'll tell you, the haves would be very angry if they were forced into participating in those Hunger Games, because they are the privileged. Well, I started watching Sliders again. I got into Sliders a long time. I had only gotten the opportunity to watch maybe 4 or 5 of the episodes between then and now. And
my wife and son, for the last couple of weeks, started from the beginning and are currently watching the entire series that's up on Netflix.
Yeah, doing the
Sliders.
same thing. In the entire first season, in that entire first season, it lays out a huge part of the agenda and alternate parts of the agenda. If we were to fail in war as a country, but I don't think that'll ever happen. There's only one group that can actually conquer us, and that is us. And
Exactly.
to be divided in half for us to conquer us, you know. So yeah. Anyways, partway through season 1, I'm gonna guess it may be episode like 6 or 7, where they slide into this community where everybody, you know, has horses and cars if you want. And the cars are free. And vegetables, food, and all that stuff, it's at the lowest possible prices. Imagine buying, I don't know, you know, these big, huge watermelons for like 90 cents or 93 cents. You know,
Wow.
instead of, yeah, exactly. That would be an ideal price for all the food. Very cheap. You know, I think the top price I seen on something in there for food that was being marketed out in an open air market was something like $3 and change. And I would guess that would be for like a whole bag of food. You know, you could virtually feed an entire family there for 2 weeks straight on like $10.
Oh, wow. I
And
wish.
we're talking real good, clean food. You know, top quality, clean food, no messing around with it, all that stuff. Okay, I'm handing out a message here. Well, these people, the Sliders, they go to an ATM. They see other people taking out money from the ATM. And they walk up there and they say, well, you know, how much are we allowed to take? And one guy behind them says, well, take as much as you want. And the people are like, what do you mean take as much as we want? I said, there's no limit to how much you take. Just take. But take as much as you want. You know, and the young lady and on there, I think her name is Wade. She only took like 1,000. The singer, they call him the Crying Man. He took 5,000. You know, and in the meanwhile, you know, these guys are getting their money. One of the other guys says, well, you know, what's with just giving the money away? And he goes, oh, well, you know, it's a lottery. The more you take, the better your odds are at winning the lottery. Didn't explain it, but it's a lottery.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that's what they're doing. Anyways, the show moves forward. The young lady wins the lottery. And guess what? They just happen to slide into that one group, you know, the haves. These are the haves. They play a lottery with their money to see who it is that's going to be killed.
Yep.
They make it sound, you know, they call it making room, right? It sounds very upright. It sounds very generous. noble. I'm making room for the next generation. Agenda 21, hello.
Well, Chris brought up the Dragon Slayer one, which is the same thing, where they were casting lots, to sacrifice the virgin to the dragon or whatever it was. And the princesses and all them are up there, and they come to find out the king's daughter finds out that her name's like several other in the higher class. Their names were always left out, so they never really actually had a threat to their life. Well, when she discovers this, she empties out and changes the lot, so every single lot in there is her name. So when the guy first pulls it, he goes, oh, wait a minute, there must have been a mistake here on this tile. And he pulls another one. It's like, wait a minute, there must be a mistake. Wait a minute, because he was trying to, not say the name. And then she stood up and said, no, the people started crying out, read the name on the first lot. And it was the king's daughter. And she stepped forward and said, yeah, they're all my name because I discovered the truth. And she tells everybody the truth of what really was going on. And it's the same thing in society, folks. That's what we deal with every day. Every religious book out there, every religious text, they all are the exact same. A couple of people ask me, well, what's the verse for this or what's the verse for that? It doesn't matter. Pick up any book, they're all the same. The oldest writing in history goes back to Samaria. Read the Sumerian text. Read the writings within. And if you don't see the exact same stories, it reminds me of the television shows when they do these these true TV shows. All the events are real. Only the names have been changed to save embarrassment or to hide the identity. That's what every single religious book out there is. No matter what denomination you belong to, no matter what book you use, no matter what religious practice you follow, every single one of them is exactly the same. So when the Christians sit there and start yelling at Muslims, and chanting, Jesus loves you, come to Jesus, how can you worship a God that tells you to kill other people? Hello, when was the last time you read your own fucking book? Starting from page 1 in the Bible. Hello. Give me a break, people. You're all worshiping the devil. Every single one of you are worshiping a deceitful God. You're not worshiping the true and one and only Creator, which has never taken a physical form, has never embodied as the body of Jesus Christ, has never entered into the Holy Spirit. Your Trinity comes from 3 very specific places throughout history. Jose brought up one of them, the 3 days of the December date. Jesus, first of all, has been proven historically through every, what do you call those guys? I just drew a blank there. Archaeologists and everything else. He was not born in the friggin' wintertime, folks. Wake up.
Nope.
So the December date is wrong. So where does the date come from? Huh?
I said that's what I was just going to say, Doc. That's a good call because even if you read the Bible, if you look into the verses you're reading, he was born in the damn summer. He wasn't born in the freaking winter. That was humans' choice for Christmas. He was born in late July, early August. Read your history.
Yep. Well, the whole thing is the name isn't even real. There was no person on record by the name of Jesus. Ever.
Hey, I got a cousin named Jesus.
Well, he was
in English
born,
it'd be Jesus.
he was born in AC/DC there,
yeah, no, wait, I'm thinking of the wrong
BC
guy
here, talking BC dates here. Put it this way, think about it this way. Everybody knew that King Herod had sent the wise men and everybody to go to there to find the so-called new king. Now let's think, well, first of all, where was he born? He was born in Bethlehem. Well, what the hell was he doing in Bethlehem anyway? Why was he born there? Why was his parents there? Why was Jesus and Mary even in Bethlehem? Any ideas? This isn't brain surgery. We still do it today.
I thought it was because Joseph was a carpenter and they maybe needed carpenters in Bethlehem.
No. The reason why they were there is because it was the first call of the census. And all families had to report to the head of households originating birth area so that they can take the census. That's why they were in Bethlehem. That's where Joseph was born. So that's why the wrongfully named that we know Jesus was born. They were taking a census of every Roman citizen. So if you're the parent of this new baby, supposedly the king, worshipped by the wise men, and there's a census, a true written document of every individual born, okay, at this exact time, as well as who's ever living at that exact time, okay, like the Romans did, then we should be able to go back to the Roman census, look it up, and find the name Joseph, Mary, child, Jesus. Guess what? It's not there, folks. You can look in the census and you will see Joseph, you will see Mary, and you will see another name. It is not Jesus. And even in the book, okay, this is what I'm saying, the deceitfulness. In the beginning of the New Testament, all the way through it, it's Jesus, 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 Jesus. Then about halfway through it, all of a sudden it becomes Jesus the Christ. Well, why did that name get added in? Because the Christ that you guys are all worshiping as Christians is the devil himself. People don't see it, and it's right in front of their face. All right? Now, people talk about this world being belonging to God and not the devil. Really? Well, two different locations throughout the Bible, when Jesus is up on the hill and he is, nice, Chris. Just laughing. Maybe Jesus, Joseph, and Mary were state nationals. It's good. We love you, Chris. Anyway, he goes up to be tempted, and he's tempted by the devil. And what does the devil clearly state to Jesus? He goes, all that you see, I will offer to you if you bow down and pray to me.
Oh, I love this one.
How does he have the power to even offer all the land that is seen? Very simply, because he's the God of this world, folks. He is the true person in charge. You don't know where you're at. This planet is not called Earth. The planet's name is known as Man, M-A-N.
Doc.
Okay?
Doc.
Yeah.
He said, all of the kingdoms.
No, he says all that you see. It depends on which version you read.
Okay. Well,
but the original text is all that you see, all the land, pointing to all the land that you see, I can give you. Well, how can he give it if he doesn't have the power to give? Because the devil has a allodial title to this planet. This planet is the planet of sorrows, folks. All right, there's three separate gods mentioned in the first 3 paragraphs of Genesis alone, where he's changed names. Everything in the beginning happens in spirit. The Creator is spirit. He creates Adam and Eve in spirit, as in our image. Our image at this time is spirit, not physical body. And all of us, it's mentioned multiple times throughout the Bible, we are nothing but worms. Look up that. You'll find several different verses that mention that I am nothing more than a worm. Okay? Why is that? Is because when the fruit took place and they ate of the tree of life, Eve was already pregnant. She was not pregnant with Adam's child. She was pregnant with the serpent's child. Let enmity come between thy and thy seed. That was the Creator God yelling at the serpent for impregnating Eve. In the Bible, it clearly states that Eve is the mother of all on earth, on land. Earth is the name of the land. Sea is the name of the water of this planet. And it clearly states that Eve is the mother of all living. And nowhere will you see it say Adam is the father of all living, because he's not. It was the devil. And that devil did not only impregnate Eve in the garden, and that brought us into the physical realm, of this planet, he's also impregnated several other women throughout the biblical text. But until you understand and truly get a grasp for the first 5 minutes of the movie, or better known as the book of the Bible, as in the Genesis, you will always be deceived and clueless of everything that's going on around you. This is why we're in the state that we're in today. This is why the evil ones are in charge, because it's planned out that way from the beginning. That's the only reason we're even here. Jesus even came and told you. The real Jesus spirit, if you will, the real Jesus person, okay, before it became the Christ, which was the devil being the deceiver. He tells you multiple times throughout the New Testament, I am not of this world. I come from another place. You cannot follow me because you cannot enter with your body. You must be in spirit to enter. Okay? He tells you this, but nobody listens. Everybody thinks that it's in reference to whatever. It's not. The truth of the matter is, he came here, he told you, because he came from the spiritual plane of the light. He is the light. You hear that throughout the Bible as well. Okay? I've come to deliver the light. The truth shall set you free. You can only be saved through me. Was not a Catholic thing to sit there and say, oh, if you don't believe in you can't be saved. He's your Savior. Wrong. He didn't say he was here to save you. He said the only way you can be saved and to get off this planet is to follow him. And he also said you cannot follow him in your physical form because he is not of this world. This world is a dungeon of deceit, a planet of sorrows. It is not even titled the planet Earth. It is a man-given name. Of the spiritual realm, this planet is known as Planet Man, which is nothing more than evil. Okay? You are the offspring of the devil. Jesus tells you in the New Testament, you are the offspring of demons. He was not talking to you about your actions. He was talking to you about truth and fact, folks. All right? So anyway, I didn't want to get off into religion. God damn it. How the hell did we get off into all this crap?
Because I pushed the issue.
Start this shit.
Sorry, Doc. I just happened to push the issue.
Yeah, you set off my butt. You know it.
Yeah, well, no, I just wanted to push the issue as to the agenda part of it. But since we're this far into it...
Sure, go for it.
Okay.
Can I say something before you get too far into it? You guys have been sitting here waiting for like 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just real quick. Even if you read the literature, it doesn't matter what religion you are. I think we had this conversation before, Doc and Hose, like way after. If you look in, I'm not sure exactly what scriptures it's in, but I know it's in mine, being the Book of Mormon and the Bible, that we are literally in hell. We are here, stuck here, to until Judgment Day, pretty much. It'll even state that in your books if you read them. If you're as religious as I am, read them. It's there.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's the sorrows, sea, planet of, hell, whatever the demonic name you want to put to it. But that's where we live. You're absolutely correct.
And just to kind of make things a little bit clearer, there are some who have been, they have been sentenced to be here.
Correct.
And there are a lot more, and it would surprise you how many more that are here by their own choice.
Yes.
They actually came here to experience this. There are some here that are just here to watch and somehow got confused and ended up playing the game instead of just watching the game. Others, like I said, came out here and are playing the game by their own choice and can leave, you know.
Absolutely.
And there are some, and it's very few, that are actually assigned or condemned to being here and cannot leave.
The only thing I would disagree with you is the very few are the ones of the light who came here to shed light on the world. Mostly everybody who's here is trapped here for all eternity to be reincarnated over and over and over again. That's what this planet was designed for, is the dark spirit. So there's a lot more of them than there are light, because this is actually where they're designed. You know, the Creator isn't... the Creator does not judge. He loves everyone, okay? However you are born. You are either born as a dark spirit or you are born as a light spirit. He does not judge. He's simply about proper placement. Like the lion to the jungle, the fish to the sea, that dark spirits to the dark world. Now, the dark spirits can never leave this planet. However, the spirits of light can come and go. All right? And that's a choice that they make to experience this environment or to bring some joy and light to them, because there's always a chance. And that was the story of, I believe, John. It may have been John. Go back to Revelations. That's what I'm thinking of, with John. All right. Where he finally figured it out. You know, so you do have a chance, even as a dark spirit, to change your ways, if you will. In spirit, there is no time, there is no age, there is no times, there just is. Okay, so that's where people get confused as well. But yeah, this planet is made for the is of the dark, and the dark can't never leave here, you know, unless they change their ways. But the people of light can come and go as they, basically as the rest of what you described.
Yeah, exactly.
LB's getting a call in here in a second.
It's just, oh my God, it's, you know, and people go and confuse astrology into it.
Oh, you gotta bring everything into it. It's a mess.
And yeah, and they throw all this extra mumbo jumbo. You know, okay, you want to make that your way? Okay, go right on down that path. But don't be surprised if 30 minutes after you have dropped that body, you're into another body that is just being born halfway across the planet.
Exactly.
Or whatever. You know, don't be surprised.
Yep. Reincarnation. You'll be here to repeat it over and over again type of deal until you get it right.
Yeah.
That's basically the simplicity of it. You know, it's like a learning curve. You know, the spirit is always eternal. You're all immortal. Your spirit will never, ever die. It'll never experience death. The bodies will, but not your spirit.
Thank you.
And it's simple. Yeah, we are all immortals. It's just that we, you know, like Katie said, the meat stick, or, you know, whatever expression you want to put to it. The puppet that we animate, you know, whatever you want to call it. If you ever witnessed a dead body or someone who actually died in front of you, it's quite obvious. You know, the body's there. 1 minute it's moving, the next minute is perfectly still and lifeless. You know, it's because the spirit has left. They're no longer there. That's why, you know, it amazes me some different funeral practices and whatnot. You know, if you know the truth, death is a welcome sight. You know, it's a glorious thing. You know, and not for the religious principles. Oh, they're going to heaven or hell, because you already live in hell. You know what I mean? There's no reason to mourn. It's because they've already experienced everything for whatever reason they want to experience in their current state and have moved on to experience something new. You know, type of deal.
Exactly.
So there's that. LB just shot me in Skype there. I gave him posted the number for him. So hopefully he'll be calling in shortly. He had to do a show earlier somewhere else today, so we'll see how that worked out for him. Just
all right.
On here, I want to jump into this other article, though, I wanted to go cover, because this is important to me as well, because it's all part of the games they play. And this one's titled, Senate Backs Quicker Withdrawal from Afghanistan. But I want you to listen clearly to what's being said here, and also to the numbers, because this is what blew me away. It's like they tell you with one hand, this is what we're doing, then on the other hand, this is really what we're doing. Yeah, it makes no sense until you look at it. So you got to realize there's, the way this all plays. All right, it says, reflecting a war-weary nation, the Senate voted overwhelmingly Thursday for an accelerated withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan after more than a decade of fighting. The strong bipartisan vote of 62 to 33 sends a clear message to President Barack Obama and the military as they engage in high-stakes talks about the pace of drawing down the, listen to this, 66,000 U.S. troops there, with a White House announcement expected within weeks. Although the vote was a non-binding amendment to a defense policy bill, its significance could not be discounted amid the current discussions. 13 Republicans, blah, 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 top GOP lawmakers, senator committees. I ain't going to read all these people's names and bullshit here. Chief sponsored argued that Al-Qaeda is stronger in other parts of the world and the nation building in Afghanistan has gone off track. His measure endorses Obama's timetable to withdraw all combat troops by the end of 2014. All combat troops, folks. But pressed for a quicker pace without specifying how that would be achieved. It is time to end this war, and the longest war in United States history, Merkley said during Senate debate. Defense Secretary, Thursday, U.S. will need to keep troops in Afghanistan even after the combat mission ends in 2014 because Al-Qaeda is still present in the country and is trying to strengthen its influence. He would not say how many American troops he thinks will be needed to conduct that mission, nor did he mention a time period.
You got mail.
Somebody got mail. The goal that is presence, therefore, that will direct itself towards three important missions. One, obviously, counterterrorism, to ensure that we continue to go after whatever Al-Qaeda targets remain in Afghanistan. Penita tells reporters at Pentagon News. He added that the United States also will have to train and assist the Afghan forces while providing support. The overall defense bill authorizes $631 billion for weapons, ships, aircraft, and 1.7% pay raise for military personnel. The White House threatened to veto the legislation in its current form, citing limits on the president's authority in handling detainees at the U.S. military faculty at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and restrictions on cuts to the Air National Guard and Air Reserves. Now here we go. They're getting all this stuff going on, and all of a sudden the bill end. It then would have to be reconciled with the legislation the House passed in May. The House bill calls for Obama to maintain a force of at least 68,000 troops through the end of 2014. Now, wait a minute. What did I just say a minute ago?
Yeah, they were going to drop it from they're going to remove 66,000, but wait, there's only 66,000 there, and he has to maintain 68,000 there till the end of 2014. So that, they just contradicted themselves.
There you go. There's 26,000 troops currently there. They need to bring them all home. They're ending the war, except for a small handful of troops to, train the Afghan people, army, police force, whatever it may be, just like we did in Iran or in Iraq, whatever it was there. But yet, then in the very bottom, after they give you all this other crap, oh no, we need to maintain the 28,000 troops. Now, is it 26 or 28,000 troops through the end of 2014? And then beyond. It just kind of leaves it open-ended at that point.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We went in, for 10 years we turned their country upside down, totally destroyed all of their laws, huge parts of their society. They're down to basically the law of the jungle plus military law and war. What's left of their society is in shambles and probably hanging on by, or I don't know, less than the thickness of a thread, maybe the thickness of a hair. And they're going to yank all the troops out, plus 2,000 more, at the end of 2014, that tells me that, I mean, it's multiple things. It tells me that they've got a lot. They have at least 2,000 secret army troops in there, or or military troops that are not being counted as of right now, at a minimum. Normally, I would believe it'd probably be a lot more than 28,000. I thought you said it had 68,000. Sorry, Doc.
Starts at 66,000, and they're claiming to, like, they're supposed to be bringing everybody home, but at the same time, they need to maintain a 28,000 team force for all this other stuff through to, into 20 through, which means we're going into 2015 now, at a higher numbers.
Right.
And now that, of course, doesn't count. Now, that's strictly our men and women. In other words, the United States force. That does not count any of the private contractors, the Blackwaters, all these other whack jobs out there, all these other private contractors out there. That doesn't count any of those numbers at all.
Well, if I'm hearing this correctly, what there's going to be is another couple of cycles where they'll be putting more troops in so that they can remove more troops. They're going to cycle a lot of troops through there. They're going to they're going to run 66,000 people through there, is essentially what I'm thinking is going to happen between now and the end of 2014. In the meanwhile, they'll probably increase the number of troops in there by another division's worth, just so that they'll have enough to draw down and make it look like they actually kept up with what the heck they've been trying to say. But the whole point is, they went in, destroyed a society, completely turned it upside down, left it without laws, and now that they have military control over it, they're going to pretend to pull everything out when they're leaving that exact same number there. That's
and then
what it tells me.
They did the exact same thing over here in Iraq and Iran. We got to pull everybody out. This war's over. We're just keeping a small troop there, and we're going to end the war. Everybody was so happy. Let's vote in the president. He's bringing everybody home. Did they ever come home? No. He simply moved them from there to Afghanistan. So what do you think is going to happen when they decide, okay, we're going to pull everybody out of Afghanistan? Bring all our troops home, and it's going to be an election or something's going to be going on. And it's going to be like, yeah, they're ending the war. This guy said he's going to bring all our troops home, and they're going to look. He did it. He ended the war. Really? Did all those troops came home? No, none of them did. They simply moved the gear, the men, the equipment, and all the other crap from point A and moved it over there to Afghanistan, point B. Well, now when they're finally the people of the Union get sick and tired, like we are now, and we're tired of paying for this war. It's been going on for 10 years now. Blah 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 blah. Let's end Afghanistan. Well, guess what? What is already in the spark and on the rise that's going on? Where do you really think they're going to go? Do you think they're all that men and troop and equipment is all going to come back here to the Union to protect the Union where they belong instead of all over the fucking world? No, they're going to simply pack everybody up and let's move them over to Syria.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
That's where they're going to move everybody. Nobody's coming home. They can't afford to have the military people come home. They know the truth of what's going on out there. They're sick and tired of their crap. Okay? They've woken up to the fact that it's all about banking and economics and all the other bullshit that's going on. All right? And when they get home, they don't re-enlist anymore. Re-enlistment is down to the bottom. If you watch any of these shows with the new technology, they tell you most of their troop ages are from 18 and 24 years old now. Because they can't get anybody to re-up. Because they're tired of the bullshit. But really what makes you laugh, my final point on this real quick, and then you guys can take it from there. My final point on this article, okay, which to me is very political in nature, should fall under world news maybe, under politics, or under military or under the U.S. You know what heading this particular article falls under? Business.
Of course, always has.
Yeah.
Business, folks. If that doesn't tell you what the hell's going on, This doesn't, have nothing to do with anything. Okay? It's all about money, resources. If you actually go and look it up, the news article is found under the business section. And if that doesn't do it for you, folks, you might as well just turn the fucking radio off, go climb back into your little cocoon, go kick back and watch television or whatever you're doing, because I'm sorry, I got nothing left that'll ever break you out of your shell and really, truly wake you up to what's going on. I'm just sorry. I'm just out of things to bring.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to your massage parlors and your seashells.
Yeah, wherever you do.
And playing with your little Beelzebub toys and all that other crap.
Don't forget to go into great debt. This, sorry, this just brought me into another quick comment. I'm stealing from my local radio DJ here because he cracks me up every morning. But he goes, yeah, remember the other day I think we had mentioned the greatest record sales in history, for the Black Friday event and Christmas. Aren't we in a major, economic on the edge of the cliff here? Nobody has any money. Everybody's out of work. So where's all this money come? And then you sit there and look at the little side chart that's there. Cash sales are like non-existent. And that includes debit cards because that's considered a cash sale. That falls under cash sales.
Welfare.
Right.
Welfare.
No. Credit. The highest shopping year in history where everybody is putting all this shit on credit cards. It is easier today to get a credit card than any other time in history.
No, it ain't.
Okay, well, what the hell here is just a rush to collapse the economy, And then you think about it, then his funny comment to the spin of the news article he read, the funny comment is, well, it really does make perfect sense. After all, the world ends in 26 days anyway, so you might as well rack up the credit cards and live it up, because you ain't going to have to live long enough to worry about paying it off.
Hey, Doc.
Doc. Go ahead.
I'll tell you, I don't know about anybody else, but I applied for one major credit card this year, and it was at the beginning of the year. I feel slighted because, I got a flat out no,
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
You managed that.
Well, I wasn't applying for anything special. I was just applying for that black card, the one with the $1 million limit on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if they really want help in crashing the economy, give me that card. I tell you what, I'll have it maxed out in a day.
Hey, there's actually a couple of YouTube videos out there. You look it up there, the black credit card. It's the American Express Black Card is what you're talking about. Okay. You guys got videos on YouTube. The kid is like 18 years old, got no job. He's still in, his kid's still in high school and that. And he applied. He showed you how to go about applying and how to answer the questions to actually get the card. And he's got a video camera of him opening it up right out of the mail, fresh out. Here's the box. Here's my nice little membership book. Here's my black card. Blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
Anybody can get a black card. And a black card, minimum credit line, if I remember right, is $100,000.
Yeah, I feel slighted.
Hey. And then he got it. And he gives a video and he tells you exactly how to fill out the application. And then every couple of months you see a new video pop up. Hey, it worked. Look, here, I got my black card. And they're videotaping them, opening them up right out of the mail.
That's funny.
Yeah, the one that comes before that, the Visa Black Card, that's the one that comes from the bank. It starts with the letter B, I believe.
Bank of America?
No, not Bank of America. It's the... Barclays. Yeah, Barclays. Yeah. That's the one that's the one that's made out of graphite.
Oh, there you go.
And that's the one that all the elite carry around. That one actually has something like a $3 million spending limit per day.
Oh, I believe it. There's so many of them crazy things out there, man. It's funny. Hang on, we got a couple of callers here.
Sure.
608, because I know we're hopefully LB's going to be calling in. 608 is who we got?
That's me.
Hey, LB, what's up? How'd your show go?
Hey, LB.
It was okay. You know, it was good. A couple of PAC supporters thought it was very good, but there's people that are calling in and said, you know, there's no use. They're going to come and get you. So I just get tired of that stuff. You know, it's people, naysayers, you know. And I think they're plants myself, unless they're really bought into the Alex Jones stuff that much, you know. They're very negative.
The Alex Jones stuff that much.
Yeah, well, what do you call it? Fear porn, right?
Yep, fear porn.
Yeah,
fear porn. All the porn you want out there.
Well, you know, that's like I was saying. If they really want the help, I'll give it to them. I'm going to definitely ask for certain things in exchange, but you know, it's all a big joke to me anymore. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
No, you know, I've seen law work. I've seen it work a lot, and just people won't learn it, and they don't want to do things right. They don't want to go to peace with these guys. They just get pissed off, and it's ridiculous. You know, it's just truly ridiculous, and they don't want to look in the mirror, like you guys were just talking about the credit problem. You know, everyone's doing stupid things and not doing the right things. And, you know, people just have to start looking in the mirror. And like I've been saying for a while now, America will not be fixed until Americans fix themselves. And that's what I believe.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for a long time.
Anyway, yeah, sorry to cut you off. I don't even know who's the other gentleman on the other line here.
It's Jose, who you were talking to yesterday.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He sounds a little different tonight. He sounds like he's from Jersey or something.
Look out.
I'm just trying to have a fun night, LB. I got to crack jokes about these idiots up in Washington, and you know, all the cabal or whatever they are. You know, the idiots running the agenda on the planet is basically up. You know, they're just idiots. And it is. But the bigger idiots are the ones that are letting them do it. You know. I agree.
So that would be us, right?
That's right.
You know, I don't know if you're aware of it and not complain.
That's
well,
Jesse, by
complain,
the way.
but at least you're trying to educate. You know. So that's the good thing. Things won't get fixed if we just sit there and be negative all the time and don't try to educate. So that's been the PAC, goal for 14 years now, is to educate people, so they don't go into this war mode again. And that's what they're building up for right now. They have to have their order out of chaos. That's how they get things done. And then, you know, after I saw what they were doing 14 years ago, after I started doing research, I go, this has got to be stopped, because they're going to do it again. And look what, you know, Alex Jones is doing. Oh, we got to revolt, and Ron Paul says secession is what you need to do, and they set up the last one during the Civil War to, kill a bunch of Americans. You know, because when things start getting out of hand for them, i.e., you know, people start waking up and not doing what they're supposed to be doing according to the New World Order crew. They create a bloody revolution or a war, and that's got to end. You can't fall for it anymore.
It's all about action and reaction, folks, like we talk about all the time here on the show.
Yep.
You know, they know exactly how to push our buttons. Don't respond to it. Don't listen to it anymore. Just turn it off. Turn off that television. Turn off your mainstream medias. You know, put down the newspapers. You know, it's not worth getting yourself all worked up into a frenzy and then falling for that pushed button when they decide to push it. And it's much easier to just sit there and ignore them. They're not going to know what to do. When we don't respond the way that it's psycho-opt planned to design, planned for us to respond, when we don't respond, they're going to start scratching their head like, hey, where'd we go wrong?
Yeah,
What's going on here? This should have happened.
Well,
that's what I
one
tell
of the
people about
biggest
voting. I go, the best thing you could do is ignore these people, because they'll go, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Don't,
just
you know, I created an image. I don't know if David saw it. There's a auditorium. It's empty, and there's just one guy sitting in a seat with his girlfriend. And I said, you know, if everyone understood what the government was all about, would be the attendance at political rallies. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is very true. I mean, we only have really something like 4 different choices in the response. Okay? Now, we can respond the way they want us to. Take, for example, 9/11. You know, they created 9/11. It came straight out of the White House. We already know that. All right. What we could have done is responded in the way that the country did respond, which is, oh my God, we need security. We're so scared. Give us security, please. Which is the wrong response. Yep. Absolutely the wrong response. Then there is the second option, which LB pointed out. Ignore them. Yeah, okay, they created it, whatever. You know, there's a third response, and it's the one I prefer. Sorry, LB, I agree with you on the ignore them. The one I prefer is point it out. Say, hey, look at what Washington just did to New York. Washington, D.C., or not Washington, D.C., but the District of Columbia inside of Washington, look at what they just did to New York City.
Yeah, point the blame where it belongs, in other words.
Yeah,
well, I don't say totally turn your backs on them, because that's point
They'll
3.
They'll stab you in the back if you do that.
Well, that's point 3 of the PAC Alliance plan, which is 1, build local communities, and I know David's been doing that. 2, correct people's nationalities to get them out of the jurisdiction of the law system that they're under. And 3 is watch what these guys are doing. And that encompasses exposing them. You know, watch what they're doing, make sure they're not going to do something bad to us, and also expose them. But we have to educate them also, and that starts on the local level, which goes back to point 1 of the alliance. So,
right. A couple of people are asking.
I'm saying ignore them politically.
Right.
Don't participate
absolutely.
in their system.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I cannot emphasize enough for people to listen to you on that one point. If we ignore them politically and we don't step into their games, we don't play with their little BS mind games, then yeah, we're better off for it, because we will be empowering ourselves. And I don't mean to be using, one of these new words, but it's probably about the only one that I can use that is correct in the direction I'm trying to speak. But yeah, we have to educate ourselves. We have to help each other get more educated in the correct direction. And I think you made a really good point of that, LB. There's nothing that helps us so much as helping each other out. On a side note, the family unit, being the one that they're attacking the hardest, is the one that we all have to bring together, make it closer knit unit. It fails me on how I can do that with my own families. I love my family. I know most of them, but I'm working on it. That's about all I can say. Hopefully, if we all do this correctly and we help others do it, that in and of itself will strengthen our towns, villages, and cities in their own unit, as units, and we can spread out the knowledge faster, which I cannot stress how fast it actually should be spread out. I wish we'd finally hit that 100 monkeys thing, but, it sounds like it's a little bit off in the distance. Not as far off in the horizon as I thought it was, though.
Well, I'll tell you, this is what Jesse was trying to make a comment on, and this is something that we applaud Jesse for, and we're so glad that she found us and has been participating with us now for quite some time.
I do not have, and I will not ever, sorry, Doc, I will never have a TV in my home, and if I do, it's just specifically for DVDs and videos only because I do not want my children fed the bullshit that we see today.
Well,
Amen.
I just got criticized by the last host of the show I was on, saying, people won't give up their cable. He says, well, I call and you're watching a movie, and I go, generally, not lately. I can't even watch movies anymore. And I got cable turned off 4 years ago. And even before that, it was to do research. You got to keep an eye on these people to see what they're doing. I just finally got so sick of the cable, I couldn't even stomach it anymore.
Exactly.
So I do watch movies, but you can learn from them because they flaunt their agendas totally all the time. I mean, The Matrix is a total exposure of what they're about. And so I do I watch them now to do research and see what they're up to. Outlaw Josie Wales, for example, I just watched again. I hadn't watched that in years, and I learned from that. There's truth in some of the things they tell you, but if you're ignorant of what's going on, you're not gonna see what they're doing or trying to brainwash people with. So I can't be a good teacher if I don't know these things. So I thought it was kind of BS that he called me on that.
It was, LB. It is, because I will tell you, I made that exact same point at the beginning of our show today. I use a lot of movies as research, strictly research. Yeah. It's become a point in my life to where I cannot watch a movie if I'm not looking for some specific point of their agenda, and I'm pointing myself at these movies. I'm not going to say, I'm just turning on the TV and watching something because it's entertaining, and then, I come to light and, there it is. No, I know the agenda. I started with Revelations and listening to some preachers that were talking about the end times and the end games that are being played in the end times. And I said, I'm going to look into that a little further. And next thing I know, I'm learning what the agenda is, where it's coming from, where it's going. I'm turning on movies like 1984, They Live, Network, Sliders. The entire first season of Sliders seems to be about nothing but their agenda and their secondary agenda. And I'm only into like halfway through the second season, and it has parts of their agenda in that also. And it's not just an agenda for the have-nots. It's actually an agenda for the haves also. So anybody out there that's listening, if you're a multimillionaire or if you're dirt poor, I don't care. You know what? These people are out to kill your bloodline, period. They don't care who survives as long as their bloodline survive. That's all they care about. As long as their bloodline survive, as long as they personally get to get away with all types of insane criminal activity, and as long as they can keep us all killing each other, then yeah, that's their game. They're happy. I just, sorry about that. I didn't mean to go on for so long, LB.
No, that's okay.
But,
LB? A couple people in chat are asking what was the show that you just came from so they can go back and listen to that one when this is over.
It was, Randy Arborough's show. It was on First Amendment Radio. If you're not part of the PAC Alliance Facebook group, you're going to miss a lot of things. That's where most of the information's being posted, and things these days, and I still need help with that. I'm waiting for people to step up to the plate and start helping with PAC stuff. We got a lot to do, and I feel things are building right now, and need a lot of administrative. I hate that word because administrators who are screwing up America right now, or have been. But yeah, we need a lot of help. So yeah, go to the PAC Alliance site, and there's Facebook buttons on the left-hand side of the pages. And at the top also, if you click on that, if you remember Facebook, just ask to join our group. It is a closed group. So yeah, that's Randy Arbro is on First Amendment. I don't know if it's by subscription only. They have to pay to hear the rebroadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of them are open and some of them you have to pay, or they allow you so many a month for free or something like that effect. I'm not sure how it all works. It's been a long time since I've been over there.
Yeah, that's where I had my show for a long time.
Yeah.
And I finally quit because I got tired of competing with all this other garbage out there, and no one was listening, this thing would have been done, and we wouldn't be where we are today if people would have taken the information seriously 10 years ago when I came out with, a lot of this stuff. They looked at it and go, well, I can't not collect Social Security. I'll go on to this guy's information. And then they end up losing everything and in prison, just because they're looking for the easy way out. And it just really gets old.
Yeah, that. Oh, poor me. I'm enslaved. Please take care of me. It's sick. It's sickening. Seriously, give me a mule and 40 acres. I'll survive just fine. But leave me alone afterward.
Hey, Jesse, I put that link in to it's facebook.com/group/PAC Alliance. That's the closed group that you guys want to sign up for. This way you'll keep track of all the shows that are going on because LB sits there and he posts almost every day on that Facebook page, and you'll be kept up to date and see what shows are coming up and what events are happening, and then go to the PACalliance.us, and that'll bring you to the main page for the PAC Alliance page on the regular website.
I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, LB, it seems the only way that I can listen to some of your shows from one of those sites, and I think it's the one you just mentioned, is if they've already been posted at PAC. The actual, the shows that you do, if they've been posted at PAC, I can listen to them. Or if Dave has copies of them, I can listen to them when, they're on one of his sites. I can't seem to listen to them directly from the site itself, though. I find that kind of confusing. Why, other than it being possibly a pay site, members only.
Which one? My old archives, or because I haven't done a show. I post shows once in a while, like the one I did today, and I was on a couple this week, but I haven't, posted them really. I posted the one today because I know Randy worked his show for a long time. Matter of fact, he's in Colorado, and they have the biggest group out there because of his show. There's a lot of state nationals, which is basically our trademark out there because they're working together, and it's still not as big as it should be because there's all these other groups that have been told, as you probably have gone over, that think they don't have to do anything. They just join a club and get to do the same old stuff, but it doesn't work that way, So it's been a very, very tough 10 years because they've accelerated their disinformation programs. And it's gotten worse, too, because of the Internet. I mean, the only way they can keep control of things is putting out disinformation. And,
yeah.
Aside their,
Right.
planned disinformation, the useful idiots that, buy into stupid patriot ideas, and they seem to spread like the plague, and people hold on to them like a religion. They won't give them up. And we went over that on the show the other day on Deatri's show. It was so much better not having call-ins the second day, I'll tell you.
Oh,
yeah, you can take a breath. On that media stuff that they're talking about, guys, if you go to the pacalliance.us site, on the left-hand side, you just mouse over that area, you'll see all those little tabs that pop out. And, I guess about 3/4 of the way down, maybe about 4 or 5 up from the bottom, if I remember right, you'll see PAC Media, or I think it says Talk. What's it say there now? I don't have the tab in front of me. Talk Shoe or something, maybe.
I don't know if there's one. Shoot. I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's got a picture of a microphone.
PAC Talk, I think it is.
PAC Talk, that's it. But yeah, that's
and,
a tab.
I don't know what that. I have to look at that. That one?
See where it goes nowadays. If you need them, LB, for some reason you don't have them in your record, I have all the recordings. So all the old recordings from the old Talk Shoes and that, going back, I don't know how many years now. But and some of the newer ones, like when you were with Phil Posteric, when you guys were doing those shows, I have a couple of those. So yeah, if you need some that you just haven't been able to download or get a hold of, get with me and I'll send you over all the ones that I have currently if you need to get those uploaded. If you want to share them.
Yes. Speaking of which, I if someone does video production out there, we could use help with that and turn those into quality YouTube videos and put them on our YouTube channel would be the best, I think.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Zach's been doing that here for Freedom Reigns now. He's working from the most recent, and he's going to hopefully in time we'll have all the last 3 years. And he does a really nice video kind of production that goes along with the radio shows you listen. And he's going to hopefully be able to help me and Deatra learn how to do some of that. So, and that's exactly what I'll be doing. I'll get all those old shows converted over into a video mode. I could do it, but I want it to be a little bit more than just the same picture over and over. So you're just looking at a still shot for 2 hours or whatever the length of the show. I would like to learn a little bit more about how to dress it up a little bit better. But yeah, it's definitely in the works, and hopefully within the next few weeks here we'll be able to get that going and start uploading those.
Yeah, see the trouble that I've had is stepping into the First Amendment Liberty Archives, I guess is what they like to call it, First Amendment Radio Archives. And I was looking for more of your older shows, and so I'm trying to dig through this, and I didn't see your name anywhere. I didn't see anything that said anything about the 14th Amendment, and then I don't even know who it was that was interviewing you, because I really just don't put that much attention to the interviewer, let's say. It took me a while before I learned that Doc's name was actually David Miola. All I knew is, hey, Doc is talking to the duck, Drake, and so this might be interesting. And the more I listened, I was like, oh yeah, Doc's got some good points. The duck is, but we got to listening, and Doc actually inspired me to actually post a few things here on FR, on Freedom Reigns. Next thing you know, I actually got onto the phone and started calling in, which was amazing. I'm hardly ever inspired like that to, call in and talk to people and give my opinion and agree or disagree. But he said things that I completely agreed with, and most of it that he was talking about at the time happened to be about voting and 14th Amendment and how it ties people up and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. And, right along with the research that I had done, and it rang so true that, I don't know. But
yeah, I spoon fed him, and then once I had him hooked, I sunk the hunk. and now he won't go away.
Well, you do know that's what happens when you chum the waters.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, and then Jesse popped in out of the woodwork. What was it? I think we started going back and forth in the chat room. She was asking questions, and I don't know. Me and her started going back and forth, and then you were calling in, and then you started going back and forth on there. And then Jesse had something she just couldn't, I guess, get correct in chat, so she called in to correct one thing, and she's never left. She's been here ever since.
Yep. It's been fun. I don't even remember. I think it's been at least 6 months since I've been on. I've been listening to Freedom Reigns for at least a year that I can verify solidly. Probably a little bit longer than that. I do know a little bit about TalkShoe. I know about Blogspot. But I had never really gotten into the internet radio side of it. I was always like, well, maybe it might, but I don't know. And so I kind of stuck to the YouTube side of it and a whole bunch of the whatever else I could dig up because, people would talk about certain things and I'd pause the video and go look for that one specific thing that they were talking about, and I'd either verify or negate that. And I kept a little log about stuff that was not verifiable anywhere, and then I'd go and research on that subject and see if I could verify something somewhere. There's still a lot of that list that has not been verified on my side of it as far as the law is concerned, and how things are tied up, but I don't care about that anymore. I found my way out, and I'm getting out. I don't care what it takes. Heck, I'll sell my whole house again, real cheap, if I can, or if I have to, just to get out of the system.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling people. Even my cousin is still on the hamster wheel, and they won't let go. I go,
No,
go. When I got out because, I needed to get back on. I had zero money to do it with. I was living in a boarding house for $200 a month. I shared a bathroom with someone and did all this web work and research, and it's sacrifice, but people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah,
but,
no.
I knew 20 years ago I started understanding what was going on here, and I go, I got to get this done, or it's got to be fixed. It's not even worth trying to go make money now because they'll take it all, or you're going to be giving half of it to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my attitude. I've been out 20 years, and I'm still waiting for a crew of people to do this. And I was just writing a message to someone. They're saying that their friend was getting put in jail for redemption stuff, and they're collecting Social Security, and it's just ridiculous. And my answer to the guy was hypocrites that bought into the plant information is what she got set up on. It's the greed problem that hooks them. The adversary loves to set up people who have no common sense or criminal minds, and that's how they're getting people. I don't know if you've recommended people read Rulers of Evil, but it will tell you pretty much the way these people think, the adversary. So, the Rulers of Evil by Tupper Saucy. It's a good read. Matter of fact, there's a guy named Michael Davis. He's been studying constitutional law for 20 years. He's written he wrote a good brief on Second Amendment issues, and of course he's studied my material, and he's done constitutional research for 20 years, like I said, and he says the only two books you really need to read is Tupper Saucy's Rulers of Evil and the Red Amendment. But of course, there's other research that needs to be done that's supplementary, which is all mentioned in my book, The Red Amendment. But That's what he says, and I'm not blowing smoke here. He says it's the best explanation he's ever seen about what's happened, and people still resist, reading it. It's ridiculous. I just don't get it. Anyway,
they're afraid of the truth or something, or they're just brainwashed to stay away from it. I don't get it either, LB. I really don't.
They rather watch a YouTube.
Right, exactly.
Well,
and that's why we got to get some stuff up there, and other than just that still picture. That's why I'm been working on this, trying to find some way to keep them visually entertained at the same time as they're learning and actually maybe listening something. So I had to click a button here. It didn't want to work. There we go. All right, Jesse, you should be back. I was actually looking for that link on that book. I know I had it, and I'll look for it for everybody so I can get it into the chat room. That book on the rulers of evil. Shoot, I can't find. I got so many.
If you go to the packalliance.us/tour, the tour page, it's on that home page.
Oh, there you go.
It's also on notmygovernment.us on one of the pages at the footnote. I kind of hide things because
make you work for it.
Yeah, make you work for it. It's always been the cheese at the end of the maze rat thing for people. If they're not willing to work, they're not going to be free. So there's a little bit of method to madness, some of the madness there.
Well, LB, I can only equate that to, somebody that goes out, say it's mom and dad, they go out to, buy a new car or buy a new pickup, and they bring it home, and they got the old one there, and their 15, 16-year-old child, which seems to be almost the level of mentality that we have with lots of grown-ups or supposed grown-ups here in the U.S. Well, what they want is the new car, They don't want to go out there and do some work on the old car and learn about the old car and how it runs and fix it up for their own use. What the child wants is to run right out there and jump in mommy and daddy's new car and take it and burn them tires off without realizing first, if he was paying or she was paying for the tires on that new car, if he or she was paying for the new car, yeah, okay, then they'd have rights to it, but they're not. Well, it's the same thing with your work. What people want is to be able to run right out there and put me on the fast track to this.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're talking about, but tell it to me in one sentence. I don't want to hear a whole paragraph about it. I don't want you to talk for 3 minutes out of my precious life, because who knows, I might have to turn on the TV within the next minute and a half, so you talk for 60 seconds maybe, and in the 15 seconds before you talk and 15 seconds after you talk, I'll just turn on the the old memory chip and then turn it off afterwards, and whatever. But yeah, put me on the fast track. I want to know everything about it in one sentence or less. And I think that's just bullshit. That's lazy.
Yeah, PAC does
that.
not have a drive-up window, and it never will.
There you go. I like that one, LB. And people used to tell me all the time about 3 years ago when I first really started working with LB and PAC, I used to get that, just tell me the end game. Just tell me the end game. I'm like,
yeah.
Hello? Yeah, and
not being a slave. How's that?
Yeah.
Not being in servitude. How's that? There you go.
I mean, I tell people all the time, I can sum up everything in one paragraph, but you're not going to like it. And the simplicity is, you have a choice. You can either continue doing what you're doing, and nothing will ever change, and it's only going to get worse. Or you can wake up to reality, Realize that you are in servitude and in bondage, and there's only one lawful way out. And the only lawful way out in the Union is through expatriation. I don't care if you expatriate through PAC. I don't care if you do it through Joe Blow and pay $1 million to get it done. Or I don't care if you expatriate to another planet. That is the only lawful way. Now, however, if you do go through expatriate any other place besides PAC, you give up the Union because there's nobody else but PAC that will do it lawfully to where you expatriate to your rightful country of birth, i.e. the state you were born in, and you will end up living in the Union as a stateless person and taking a chance of possibly being extradited to the Joe Blow Island that you expatriated to.
Yeah.
End of story. Just repeat that same 5-minute message over and over again for the next 20 years, and that's all anybody's going to need to hear. It's your choice. Do you want to do it the lawful way, get out, no longer be a slave, or do you want to keep things the way they are? There's only, a gazillion different ways I can say it. I've been saying it for 3 years. LB has been saying it for 20 years. The ball's in your court, folks. We're here to help you. We'll help you serve it. We'll help you deliver it. We'll help you educate you. We'll get you the material you need. But you need to take that first step. It's a treasure hunt. It's a journey. Have fun with it. Okay? I went through the PAC sites. I read everything on the internet I could find. I got over 100 different links to the PAC sites and PDFs. And albeit one time it says, wow, there's that many. I didn't think I wrote that many. He's got enough just PDF files out there, folks, to write take a whole other book. Okay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The information's there, but you have to want it. You have to be hungry for it. You have to go and look for it. And if you look for it, you're going to find it.
And if you do the research and you download the things that you should be downloading, on top of what you get from PAC itself, if you go and you take a good, long, strong look at what is that 249 thing? 15 statutes at large. Expatriation. And you read that correctly, and you download that, and then you go and you download and read all of the other little things that come along with PAC. Oh my God, it's an education like you would not believe. And if you take time to pull out even just a simple dictionary and look up the simple definitions for stuff, you'll be helping yourself because you're going to broaden your IQ. You're going to broaden your manner of speaking. You're going to end up kind of like me, where you stop and you think about what you're going to say because you want to pick the right word to say it.
Yep.
But at least when you say something, you're like 99% sure that what you said was spot on. It was right. And you really do know. It's not about guessing. It's not about shooting in the dark anymore.
Right.
Your eyes will be open. Your ears will be open. Your mind will broaden. And when you give out the information, you'll have solid ground. You will be standing on solid ground, and nobody can shake you on it. If they have the counterproof, aha. But I've yet to find anybody that's got the counterproof, and I'm one of those that goes out and looks for the counterproof. I cannot shake the TRA, no matter how hard I try. So far, I can't get it.
Sorry, I'm going to interject there because I'm jumping to, and Mylene is one of my best understudy students of the past couple of years, and she actually said that she has clarity now, even from reading the book. She's going to write a testimonial up to that effect, but you're pretty much saying the same thing, not arguing or the material itself not proper, but it educates you to the point where you're no longer afraid. It gives you confidence, and it gives you clarity. She said.
Yeah.
Of course, I wrote it and put it together, and I still claim divine intervention because it came together fairly fast, for me. So, not that I'm not the sharpest tack in the box, but I'm not the dullest either. But it still came together quickly. So I had help with it in some way, shape, or form that I can't explain. But having that, is I guess beneficial to people, like Mylene has told me. So.
Absolutely, LB.
Sorry to interrupt, Jose.
No.
No.
That's great, and it's very true. We get that all the time. Chris was just putting in the chat room even. He had made several different comments in there about the TRA. He also has read the TRA, and it just dumbfounds him, the information that's available out there on PAC, and then the TRA to boot, and how people just do not seem to have. They lack the interest in it. It's like, what is wrong with society that they can't see the truth when it's right in front of their face? And that all comes out and down to our the way we've been brought up, and goes back to some of what Jose was saying about spinning the wheels off the tire. Well, if they were the ones paying for it, they'd take a little better care of it. And we become a society of consumers. We consume everything, and our kids are being taught wrong. Our moral code of the household is vanished, and now it's all about, well, what can you buy for me? How much am I getting for Christmas? What kind of allowance am I going to get? It's all about the give me, where they don't earn it. Now, that's not everybody, obviously. You have people out there like Jesse and who are teaching their kids, and myself. I do the best I can. My kids are taught this information that I bring to you. You guys are out there sharing with other people, so the word is getting out, and it is getting to the younger generation. That 100 monkey effect may not take place overnight, but it is in the works. And within the next 15 years, max, I'd say, if not sooner, that 100 monkey is going to take off big time, because we've been teaching the younger generation. Right now, they're not 18. They cannot do this today. They have to wait till their 18th birthday. And just like my kids and everybody I talk to, and they're telling their kids the same thing. Look, I may be stuck with this for whatever your reason may be, whether you're on Social Security, whether you're disability, whatever the problem is that you personally have, that you, for some reason, are not ready to take the leap of faith and are not ready to let go of all the handouts, if you will, which are going to disappear anyway. The government has no choice. It's going to go away. But you could teach your kids, you can teach this next generation that's coming up that, look, on your 18th birthday, when the school tells you at 16, go get a driver's permit, don't do it.
Don't do it.
All right? Do not do it. All right?
Yeah.
On your 18th birthday, you call LB, you send them an email, you get a hold of the PAC, whoever's around at that time. The information's always on the PAC websites, and you correct your status right off the bat, because you've already been taught this material the last couple of years as you were growing up. If your parents have been teaching you, if not, learn it yourself. And don't contract with them. And then this way, it's that much easier because you're no longer in any bad habits. We can stop you before you start the bad habits of credit cards and getting bank accounts and driver's license and Social Security and so on and so forth. We can nip it in the butt before it begins. If we can get our claws into the teenage group and into the colleges and universities, this country would be a different place literally almost overnight. Okay, because one teenager will tell another, and so on and so forth, and you know how they join their little clans, the little clubs or whatever it may be. They all got their little group of friends. Okay, just like they run around all excited. Hey, look, I got my driver's license. Well, guess what? They're going to run around just as excited. Hey, look, I got my state national ID. Take your driver's license and stick it up your butt. So
well, that's not the attitude we take. the general result is we're let go at traffic stops, and it's getting worse and worse because these stupid sovereigns and stuff out there are just polluting things and making things worse. I hear it every day that it is getting worse, and you have groups like that Southern Poverty Law Center out there telling cops to ignore anyone that doesn't kiss the ass of the law enforcement, whatever. You know, and that is getting epidemic now the last 10 years. That's why I get upset so much about people wasting time with these other groups, because we do go to peace. That's our whole thing, going to peace with these people and try to educate them and know that we're not out there to threaten them, but to get things back, because they're just as concerned about everything as we are. They're ignorant. They don't know, you know, and have these guys out there threatening them with guns and being belligerent to them and telling them they're a bunch of Nazis. That doesn't help anything, you know.
Not at all. And I want to just cut you off there for a second, LB. I
Sure.
wasn't referring that's what the teenagers do to a law enforcement. I'm saying that's what they say in their little cliques. In other words, you know, when kids say, "Oh, look, I got something new," and they try to show it off. And that's what I meant about National ID card. It wasn't that I was saying to take that attitude towards law enforcement and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, I was missing. I apologize. I was half listening because I was typing a response, so I apologize if I didn't hear what you said prior, you know.
Oh, yeah. No,
but, that's why, you know,
you're wrong.
you know, I could put up on the PAC sites that, here's our ID, come and join us, but it's like putting one of those fancy mobiles in a baby crib where they can sit there and look at it like, ooh, look at the neat stuff. That's not what this is about.
Right.
I'm not baiting people with that shiny ID, because that's not what it's about, you know.
No.
Actually, here's the true story. I actually had a guy that said to me 5 years ago, I think it was. He goes, "Well, you know, LB, I could sell a lot of the IDs for you." And I go, "Jerry," I'm not going to tell you his last name, but you don't get it, do you? This isn't about the money. It's about doing the right thing, you know. And he went to prison because he was selling redemption type stuff and whatever, you know. So that's how that works. You do the wrong thing, you're greedy and stupid, you're going to go to jail.
Absolutely. Well, we were talking about that the other night after the show, LB. You know, a couple of people may have taken the wrong message the way some of those callers were brushed off. But the plain and simple truth is we don't worry about that stuff. You know, you're working within the system. I hate to tell you. You know, you were either have status, corrected status, and you're out of the system, then you don't have to worry about the birth certificate, the bonds, the trust, and all this other crazy madness that these people talk about. Who cares? Whether it's got validity or not, and I'm not saying either way, okay? You're playing the same game they've been playing for years, and you're playing in their court using their ball. Guess what?
Exactly.
You lose, okay? You lose. Just like the ICC people and the, what's that form, that Form 1 or whatever they had people filling out Turner was doing for years. And, you know, go ahead, keep playing the games. Haven't you learned that the more you play these games, the more names they take and the more people go to jail?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it equates to a football game where you're the what is that, the visitor team, and it's only you, but you're on my turf. You're at my, you know, I got my whole 12-man football team sitting here, plus a whole bunch of bench warmers. These refs are paid by me, and I make up the rules to the game as it goes along, and you're standing on the field as a visitor, and you're going to play against my 12 guys. And that's the exact odds. Those are the exact odds. And if I care, I'll throw another 12 guys up in there, you know? And that's the odds we're up against. Sad to say, they are the odds. But either you can be that team on the field, you know, getting pounded, or you can be off doing something else that is much more productive to your life. And personally, I equate being a state national as being off doing something more productive for my life. And that's where I'd rather be. I don't like getting beat up. I don't like getting pounded. I don't like earning my meals from my labor and my housing and all that kind of stuff just to give a third of it, or in some cases, and this I find absolutely ridiculous, up to 60%, to whoever, just so that they can have a new car or do whatever they do. That's just absolutely insane. Supporting a system to that extent is insane.
And there's rumor that it's going to go back up to 75%. Is it someplace now? One of the countries, I think they're already being taxed at like 75% of income. LB might know more about that.
No, I try not to. I've seen enough dealing with patriots.
There you go. But yeah, we're currently looking with this fiscal cliff and all. There was a couple of different news articles over the last year, even that we're kind of leading towards that. Expect the tax rate to go up as much as 75% here. And during the Great Depression,
that was just with the Obamacare, though, Doc.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It has to do with the Obamacare coming out.
Okay.
And they were talking that don't be surprised. Like people were like, "Oh no, it won't happen here." When if you look back at I think if I recall right, going by memory, it was during the Great Depression. Actually, the tax rate was at 95% or something like that, and that happened here in the United States. It was only for a very short time, but here in the United States, we saw as high as a 95% tax rate for a short period of time. With the Obamacare coming out and everything else, and the fiscal cliff we're currently staring over, as they call it. But yeah, don't be surprised if you end up looking at 75% of your earnings wiped out. It's time to do something.
If I'm wrong. Oh, sorry about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doc. But
You're wrong.
Wasn't the thanks a lot. Weren't we only supposed to have taxes during the Great Depression to get the economy back to where it was, and then the taxes were supposed to just cease?
I think that was something what they were referring to, where the 95%. You always heard about the Roaring 20s. Well, what happened between the 10 years prior to the Roaring 20s, and why did they call it the Roaring 20s? The prior to the Roaring 20s was when that Great Depression all was going on and taking place, and they did that 95% tax rate for that short time. And the economy bounced back so strongly that it was actually the Roaring 20s. It was called that because, if I recall right, it was actually the highest economic growth that we've ever saw here in the Union. And like you said, it was supposed to, remain gone afterwards, if you will. But just like anything else, you give them something, it's hard to get any back. And that was just one time in history we were able to get some of it back. But just in my lifetime alone, since I've been working, it's gone up from 12-15% to now it's between 25 and 30%, and in some places even higher when you start adding up all the different ins and outs of it. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, and it's going to get worse. This is why the excuse is why most of the companies went overseas and outsourced, was because the tax base, and even our business, although it's a different type of tax, the corporate tax world, and I'm going back 8 years, so I'm sure it's higher now. Back then, at that time, when I had my DJ company and all, they were trying to show me how it all works, and it was a 15% corporate tax, I think is what it was called, here in the United States. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's awful high when I started to look up corporate tax. And this is why everybody went overseas, because the corporate tax, now this ain't personal tax, the corporate tax overseas was like 2 and 3%. Some places maximum of a 5%. We had the highest, and still do, the highest corporate rate tax system of anybody else on the whole planet. And this is why we can't keep business here, because it's cheaper for them to go overseas and pay, even with the cost of fuel, to ship the stuff back, because they can produce it and make a bigger profit for the company, even with the added expenses of paying for the shipping and everything to get it back here in the U.S. And if you really want to save this country, that's all they got to do. As far as economically goes, just cut our damn corporate tax rate in half. Now people say, well, that gives the rich a break. Well, okay, I'm sorry. Has a poor man ever given you a job? No. You know what I mean? Let's use a little logic here, folks. Have you ever applied for a job at a poor man who can't even feed his own household? No, you went to a big corporation. You know, that's where the jobs are.
Or you went and, like in my part of the world, down in the Southwest, you go and you find somebody who has, you know, a decent little herd, tries to work his own ranch by himself. And okay, so you're not going to be working every day on that ranch, but you can put in, you know, 2 days a week on this guy's ranch, 2 more days a week over there, 2 more days a week over there. And I guarantee you, if I go home, I can fill up an entire month where I will not even have time to do anything other than eat and sleep at home, because I'll be working the entire rest of the time. But, you know, that I won't be working for anybody rich. Not by any standards are they rich. Yeah, you know, each one of them has a small herd. The whole herd might be worth maybe $50,000. And that's not a lot. That's only like 25 cattle. You know, maybe 30 cattle. And, you know, they got their little ranch, but the taxes coming down on these guys and, you know, the loss, not to mention every year they have to reinvest a huge chunk of whatever they make into feeding these animals and taking care of the animals. And then there's the veterinary and this, that, and the other. It's not a complicated mess. It's just probably too much for me to go into right now. The reason I'm talking about it is because I've done it. I've owned a ranch. I've run about 75 head at one point. I was doing pretty good. I had two men employed. One of them, everybody would call him an illegal. In my book, he's not an illegal. He's just not in the union, and he's not in the legal. You know, he's here lawfully under my understandings because, you know, we're supposed to be an open country, and that would be the union side of it. And I think I could defend that. Oh, that brings me back to that question I wanted to ask a long time ago. But by no means was I rich, but I could afford to take on 2 more laborers other than myself and my cousin. We were able to feed our families and their families, you know, and keep us all above board, you know, for probably a good 8 or 9 months before I told them, hey, winter's coming, you guys better find something else. You know, once winter hits, I'm pretty well shut down. I end up with maybe half a day of labor, you know, per day. And that's stuff that I can do on my own. You add my cousin into it, and we were done by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, other than watching the cows at night for any of them that might be dropping calves. You know, that doesn't take that much. But we still helped. But you got to have the wherewithal to be able to help. It's not only about, you know, going out there and getting these big, huge corporate jobs. Because what we're doing on this planet, and the top rule, the number one rule on this planet, from everything that I've learned in my 46 years of being here, going on 47, is survive. Regardless of what else you do, survive. And survival at its most basic is food, shelter, water.
Yep.
You know? And that's what you need in your family. You need food for your family. You need shelter for your family. You need water for your family. Notice, I did not say anything about things you want. I said things you need. Okay? I didn't say anything about clothing because clothing is something you want, because you don't want to go out hunting in the nude because it's really cold out there in the wintertime. You know? But I'm not saying you can't do it. Give me a rifle, I'll show you how to hunt naked in the wintertime. It looks funny, and my shots are going to be off like crazy, but I'll nail the deer sooner or later. But the point is, once again, we're back down to the family unit is the most important.
Right.
It's not the individual, it's the family. And the question that I had for LB is, is it possible for somebody who has come in and become a U.S. citizen, naturalized, would they be able to expatriate out to, say, into being a state national, or would they end up being returned to, say, the country of their birth?
What was the point of that? I heard the country of the birth and in regards to...
What we're asking, LB, is if someone is, in other words, they were born, let's say, in Japan, and they came over here and they took the oath and became a United States citizen.
Right.
Can they become a state national since we kind of deflect to their place of birth, or would they, is that...
I recommend that people get U.S. citizenship. Technically, I'm dealing with someone in Florida that's got an issue like that right now, and we're asking the, Secretary of State of the United States about the details on it, and they're ignoring it. So we're just going to claim it and go from there. These guys are getting more criminal every day. 10 years, even some of my associates that I've worked with for years have been doing law for years, say that because of the Southern Poverty Law Center going out and telling these guys to ignore anyone but a lawyer, that every year that goes by and every minute that goes by, it's getting harder, and these guys are ignoring the law because the goal is totalitarian dictatorships around the world, not benevolent ones. So the longer people wait, the less easy it is for us to get things done. And I'm not being negative here. I'm just stating the facts. Also, we have people travel on airplanes or the jets or whatever commercially and get through, TSA without state IDs and things of that nature. And so it's not bad. It's, more work, but the more people we get, the more we'll get start reversing this damage that's happened the last at least 10 years. And if people keep up these goofy programs and ticking the government off with nonsense, it just makes it worse for everyone.
Would you say it's more work getting to being a state national and learning all the PACT information, including the TRA and stuff, or is it equal work getting there and then equal work after, or more work, less work getting there and then more work after?
Well, it's more work after. I tell people, you can do your own paperwork. Paperwork's only a percentage, a small percentage of what needs to be done. A lot of people think that they just file the paperwork and that they're done. Well, that's not true. Your life's got to take a change. Your paradigms have to shift. You got different things you have to do, and that's part of why we started state nationals, so the weak can the strong can help the weak, and everyone wants to be an island out there. No one wants to get their communities built back up, and we're here to help each other. And matter of fact, that's why I'm kind of half paying attention. I'm working the PAC Alliance and answering questions right now. And someone just said that they had a friend that got busted because they were doing the redemption stuff, and they got put in jail. And I go, yeah. And she also said that the last one that was mentoring her dumped her because she cared about other people, and he was an anarchist. And I just told her, it's funny because anarchist is like antichrist almost. They don't believe in any law form, and they generally don't even believe in the Creator or the Bible is what my base is, and for base law form, and that's just a bad attitude. It's that I'm a sovereign individual mentality, and that's just greed and selfishness.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that.
You're not done. The paperwork is not a force field. If you don't know how to enforce it, it's not going to work because they constantly test you.
You have to be able to stand your ground, which goes right back to the education.
Right.
That's easy. The education part of it is where I specialize. So, I've been saying this probably since the very first show that I ever called into, and more than likely, the very first thing I ever probably posted is our education's legal law. Screw legal law.
Yeah. Law is something that's natural and it comes from God. They want you in the legal system.
Oh yeah.
And like I tell people, this is baby steps back out of it. We're not in a perfect world, and I respect their system. And I think if everyone knew how to work it, not to take advantage of it, but knew their ground and who they were, it's really not a bad system. And these patriots out there, I was arguing with someone yesterday, and I kind of joked about it. So fine, we'll do the Indian tribe nation, Indian tribe law system. We'll dump all this evil corporation stuff. Is that what you want to do? Because they're, this whole movement saying, "Oh, the United States is a corporation." Well, yeah, it always was. The states were too. What's your point? You want to go back? You want to do Indian law? Is that what you want to do, or not have any law? There's no. I don't believe in anarchy, which is basically not believing in any law form. That's just anyone that thinks that way is just insane, I think.
Oh,
I hate to use their terminology, but it's uncivilized.
It is. Well, this whole planet currently the way it is, and I'm really going to hammer America on this, because there's not a single American that I know of, with possibly the exception of you, LB, and Dave, that cannot stand in front of me and say to me, "Oh, I'm civilized," because I'll tell them, "No, you're not. You, my dear friend, are an uncivilized barbarian. Look around
Amen.
you. Look at the system that we live in."
Amen.
It is a very barbaric system. It's a system that promotes killing. I don't care which direction, but it promotes killing. It promotes the use of people as if they were objects. It promotes the love of objects as if they were people. None of that is civilized. Those are the traits of an uncivilized barbarian, and the uncivilized barbarian hordes that used to roam Europe and Asia, just stripping villages of families and everything else. It's just uncivilized. A bunch of barbarians, as far as I'm concerned. The last time that there was anybody civilized here in what we call America, I would say, are those that were moved from tribes to nations. And I come from a different culture. In my culture, we don't have family law as it is stated, with the legal system. What we had is head of family made the law. and it was already established. It had been established hundreds upon hundreds of years ago as to how we dealt with each other, how we dealt with problems inside the family, whether there was business problem or, any other kind of problem. And I see that as being very civilized, because there would be no, at the worst, there'd be two brothers having a fist fight, and they're not going to kill each other if they're...
Well, that's just custom and usage law, and that's what we've had taken away from us.
Yeah, and it comes from the family.
It's because they want to monopolize everyone's as their own, secret slaves, and that's what they do. And it's not right. It's evil.
No, well, you look at the word nation, you get the etymology of it, and it. See, and the only reason I had any insight to this is because I speak Spanish, and Spanish comes from Latin and, Roman and all that other stuff. And so I looked at nation, and I said, well, that sounds a lot like nacer, which is Spanish, and then N-A-C-I, nasi is, I believe, Latin for to be born.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, let me finish looking that up. And yeah, right there in the etymology, the first two words, it's your birth rank, the rank of your birth within, and that would mean the rank of your birth within a family where you have grandpa, he's, 80, 90 years old. He's the head of the family, the head of the entire family. And so they're trying to set themselves up as the head of the entire, all of the families. And they're looking at it from a value point of view, in where how much value they have and how much they can suck out of the rest of us. And being a head of family myself, I see that I don't want my family's value or anything. I don't want my family hurt in any way. I don't want them jilted. I don't want them stripped of any of their rights or anything like that. And if it means me standing up and going to their heads of family and correcting them, or they can have a family feud, well, then that's what it'll have to be, But that's how I see things, and I see that as much more civilized than the current system. I'm pretty much done on that one. I probably talked you guys' ear off. Sorry about that.
No, just kidding. It was actually reminding me of a lot of things. You go back to the older cultures, and that's the way it was. Especially the Oriental cultures, and a lot of that is still prevalent today. The head of family was law. Head of household went in and has a bowel movement and tells the kid, "Hey, go get a fork and eat it. You better do it." And you did it without questioning. You did it without questioning, because you also knew that there was a reason for it. There was a lesson to be learned. There was either a punishment being delivered, a lesson to be learned. There was something of value within. It wasn't just being sick and disgusting. I used a crazy example, but that's the way it is. You don't question because you don't know. At the younger age, in other words, it takes years to grow the wisdom, and that's with my native history and the lessons that were taught there and the background, and I researched into that history of things, and how wrong the history books are, claiming that they were a salvage people. Well, first of all, the evidence proves just the contrary. There may have been a couple of different tribes battling a little bit here and there, but they were far from savages because, first of all, they all traded with each other. There's also such a thing where we get there's such a thing as a universal language. Well, the universal language, and it's a global language, is sign language. Well, where did sign language come from? It came from the Indian nation, the Indian Sign Language. Well, that was how they communicated. They may have spoke a different language. One spoke English, one spoke, French, another Spanish, German. But when they got to the trading post, okay, they all spoke one language. They spoke sign language, and it's internationally recognized around the globe that's where sign language comes from, is your native tribes, and that's how they communicated. They all had and shared one specific language, which was universal among everyone. That was the first language you learned. So they were bilingual in that aspect. So how could you be a savage fighting each other all the time and still teach each other the universal language? It doesn't compute, folks, okay? Don't believe your history books. They're full of crap.
Well, even two tribes that would happen to be warring each other at some point due to probably inclement weather that's lasted too long or something like that would come to peace, because both tribes needed to survive, and both tribes understood that both tribes needed to survive. And they would start trading with each other and making closer ties and all that kind of stuff. That's the other thing that's missing, and once again, it's been aberrated in the legal world into go in, destroy another nation, and then impose their ways upon that nation. And yeah, now you guys are buddies, even though the people of that nation hate you for what you've done, because you're not giving them anything of value. You're giving them the facade of value, the appearance of value.
Well, LB has a good saying on that one. It all comes down and back to the manifesto, where their goal was to destroy cultures. And that's how they do it. You destroy the culture of a people, and like LB says all the time, we forget who we are. We don't know who we are anymore because our culture has been stolen from us. It's been, bred out of us, if you will. Is that,
I don't know if right? I know David's watched it, but there's I don't know if people know the history of PAC, but there's a page called Human Resources on the PAC site. If you type in PAC Human Resources, it'll come up on Google pretty quick, I think.
Yep.
But anyway, the first paper I did that really birthed PAC was on human resource. It was just a simple one-page document. It's on that page. You can read it. And recently, Charlotte Etherby was talking about these type things. She worked with Reagan, and she started questioning things like back in the Reagan administration. Of course, she started looking into things. She got fired from her job, and for asking too many questions and bucking them. But I'm not saying I was the one that invented it, but as far as the movement goes, that's what PAC was basically birthed on, is the human resource factor. And it's just exploded. There's the documentary on that page. It's like an hour-and-a-half documentary someone did a couple years ago on human resources. And they went into, Bernays types, philosophies, and how the Rockefellers just wanted to create useful workers and turn everyone into resources. And, I noticed, of course, the change from the 70s, because most workplaces were using personnel department for their employee, office, and it changed. And because I wasn't in the corporate world, I didn't see the change, but, I go in 20 years later into this corporate office, and they're calling people human resources. They go, well, what the hell is this crap? You're really putting up with this? Yep. It's just so blatant. And, the corporate world accepted it. They didn't even question it.
No, I have to agree with you on that, LB. I did see the change. I did take an affront to it. There was nothing I could do about it when I mentioned it to my boss. I happened to be working a corporate job at the time, and I said, "Wait a second. That was the personnel department, like 2 months ago." And he goes, "Yeah, well, we've had to change a few things around. It's just corporate policy. We're now that department is now human resources." And I said, "I don't like that name. I take that as an insult." And he goes, "Okay, noted. Now get back to work." And it was that simple. They don't care. They really don't. As long as they're getting what they want out of it, that's all they care about.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a ton of great stuff as you go through. Like I always tell everybody, it's a treasure hunt, folks. Once you start, just got to find that first PDF that you get drawn to. No matter what it is, whether it's a human resource one, and then you got the movie that goes along with it, Treason by Design, the list goes on and on and on. Patriot Misbeliefs, that's the one I cover always from day one. Whenever we start a new year and start new classes, that's your first lesson, okay? Within any single PDF document that has been put together and put out by PAC, you will find that it leads you to another, and another, and another. It's a journey. It's a path. Within every PDF, you're going to find 2 or 3 other links to other PDFs and those are going to lead you into, and it just keeps going and going and going. So it's just a matter of taking that first step, because once you get your foot wet, you're just going to be drug in deeper and deeper and deeper into that water, and you're just going to keep going and going and going. You're not going to want to stop. I've had many new students that have told me, I started out, let me just go check it out. They would read that 1 or 2 things, and then before they knew it, the sun was coming up the following morning. I'm like, because it becomes that addicting. Okay, it really does. Once it grabs that one part that sparks that fire or flame or whatever's in you, it becomes a hunger. You hunger for this, because even though it hurts, even though you get mad, even though you're going to start cussing at the wall, okay, then, effers, whatever you want to say about it, okay, at the end of it all, there's a peace. Okay, there's a peace that's going to come over you. Me and LB had this talk a long time ago, many years ago, when he was asking me about it, what attracted me to PAC and whatnot. And it was just that. I stumbled across one specific thing, and it made sense. I verified it. I couldn't find any fault. And I'm like, okay, so then I moved to the next, and to the next, and the next thing you know, I'm passed out at my computer because I'd been up for 48 hours. Yeah. So it's like, what the hell happened here? And this is how it can happen, folks. It's that easy. And then you just want more. You'll hunger for it. And I was mad. I went through all the emotional levels. And then ultimately it was, you know what? Yeah, at this time, I've been doing this a long time. And unfortunately and sadly, I've still not been able to correct my status. And that's for personal things that I'm still trying to take care of. But I'm walking the walk, and I'm teaching it every week, multiple times a week, on multiple venues. Okay, I'm doing everything I can because it brought me a peace. Right? I may not be able to be a state national. My kids will be. If I can't make that goal in the end, my kids sure to hell will.
That's right.
But that's the PAC Alliance motto. Anyway,
yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. It's a peace, though. Knowing the truth will set you free, and that's so true. Knowing that I'm a slave and understanding why I'm a slave actually freed me. Okay? Yeah, it sucks. But at least I can look in the mirror and say, I did it to myself. It was my own contracts, my own ignorance, my own lack and laziness of wanting to study and to learn the information. Well, now I've corrected that problem. I've got the information. The tools are there for you. And like I said, even if you can't do it, at least it'll save you in the end. And that's what it's about. Saving you from going down a false path. I had a gentleman who was getting involved deep with the free man on the land crap, who came across just in time. He found the shows, and he found PAC. And the man to this day, every once in a while, will shoot me an email. You know, brother, I still can't thank you enough, for what you did. It was one show he was passing through. I don't know how he stumbled across us, and I was talking about Patriot misbeliefs. Okay, and he sat there and looked it up. The following day, he was getting ready to put a check in the mail for the package from the so-called Freeman on the Land crap for $2,000.
Wow.
Okay, so the man could not stop thanking me enough because I saved him from blowing $2,000. And just because of that one paper, PAC's Patriot Misbeliefs. He saw it. He saw the truth within. He quickly turned around, did a complete 180. He said, I'm out of here. He started reading the PAC material. He's got his TRA. Unfortunately, I can't remember the guy's name, but by now I'm sure he's probably at least, because this is over the last 2 years, so by now I wouldn't be surprised actually if he is a state national, because the only thing I do get is an email once in a blue moon just saying thank you, and I know it's him, so he just lets me know he's still out there. But this is what it's all about, folks.
Yeah.
Just to keep you from, save your money. You know what I mean? Don't give it to some of these idiots out there. They're just crooks. They're going to get you in jail. They're going to get you in trouble. You're going to end up losing everything you have that you worked so hard for. We've had, folks, in case you haven't realized, we actually been in our overtime show, and we have about 10 minutes left, maybe 14, before BTR actually cuts us off here. So if you guys want any final notes or thoughts, we have about 14 minutes before they throw us off air here.
Well, I kind of you mentioned something, and I had a slight inspiration, and I don't know how crazy this might sound, but I would. I'm going to put it on the agenda for you and me, definitely, Dave, because you and I probably already know. But I'd like a suggestion from LB in the form of a list of keywords that we should put into, a few papers, and their definitions. I don't need the definitions from you, Albie. I already know what the definitions are going to be. But I'd appreciate, some sort of a list of keywords that we should possibly put out in a radio show later on. That way we make ourselves a little bit more clear and makes it easier for people to understand both the PAC site and the TRA should they need it.
Well, the Island Makers Project lexicon is it's there for the taking, so I would just download that and go with it.
Oh, there already is one.
Yeah, I can get you that link, Jose. No problem.
Yeah.
Awesome. Totally awesome.
There's like 54 definitions that I didn't make references to where they're from, but some of them are fabricated based on, let's say, common sense, and some come from just law. But, they're not footnoted. They're kind of a custom list for PAC that's derived from, like I said, law and common sense. So it's kind of our, I put it together to help people understand who they are. It was put together to warn people about these shysters out there primarily, but it also teaches them who they are and what they're doing wrong too. So it's quite a good document or list of words that help people with those things.
Thank you very, very much for that, LB. I mean, I've always worked off of definitions. That's just the way I am. It's been ingrained to me since probably first grade when I was in school. And maybe even before that, because my father used to tell me, well, here's a word, here's what it means. And he didn't have a great education. He only had a third-grade education. It was in Spanish and in a very rural area, but he was a whiz at math. But he did everything he possibly could to make me bilingual before I went to school. My primary language is Spanish. Secondary is English. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what gives me a little bit of an edge, you know, over the idiots in our government or whatever.
Well, I've been telling people, these people in government, like state legislatures, they don't know law. You know, it's pathetic. Yeah, if you put in PAC lexicon, P-A-C lexicon, L-E-X-I-C-O-N, it's the first hit on Google. Lexicon's kind of a obscure word for definitions, or dictionary rather. So, someone said it was pretty sharp and you're a good writer. What's lexicon? And I go, it's a dictionary. Yeah, so it's kind of an obscure word, so it comes up first. I don't know anyone that searches for keywords for PAC. You know, our information. Just put in PAC, and it'll generally pull it up pretty quick.
Yeah, I have them. Another list you give us, LB, for your top recommendations. So we're down to about 6 minutes here. Give me the top 3 or 5 PDFs for a new student that you'd recommend.
A PDF? I don't know. The best list, I would say, is in the things you need to know is in the 14th Amendment tutorial. There's a ton of them. I think it's 7 parts to that thing. Just put in PAC 14th Amendment, and it should come up on the search engine. And it's on those tabs on the side that we were talking about earlier on. Most of the websites under civil law, I think. Yeah, it's a tab called Civil Law. Will take you to that. And I call it civil law because it's the Red Amendment, and it threw everyone in the Union into a civil law system. It ripped their common law principles, for the most part, out of their lives. It didn't happen immediately, but even the common law is still there for people to have, but no one knows about it. No one's using it. They don't know how to fight it in court, and they're slowly taking it away from us. Westlaw even had as long as back as far as 1967 a common law pleadings and practices manual they put out. Of course, since that time they really accelerated this program to put this totalitarian dictatorship civil law system in that they're working on, or it's going to be the New World Order, the private law system. So even to a point, even if you're a U.S. citizen, you could use common law at two points. But their procedures and things in their writs, they've converted into statutory from common law principles, or writs. So they're converting everything slowly, and we got to pull it out of the crapper here.
Okay.
And that was my hope. It's going to disappear if we don't take it. Like they say, use it or lose it.
Amen. Well, there you have it.
I don't want. Yeah, I didn't want to say that status correction is still not good. We're politically. It's a political movement that PAC's all about, is destroying this system that they have out there. Because the 14th Amendment operates off deceptive gray area, and that's what we're about, is drawing the line in the sand and getting rid of all that gray area, get back to natural rights, and get out of the civil law system as much as we can, even though some of it still applies, even when you correct your status. I'm done.
Amen. Thank you so much, LB, for joining us here. You're always welcome. Jesse, Jose, couple of minutes here left. You want any thoughts for next week's show, Jose?
How about we do the lexicon? I like that. I
We can
really
do that.
like that.
That's a good idea.
Okay, you guys got the link. I put it over there in your Skype room so you guys can read over it and pick up some of your favorites.
Oh, I'll be downloading
I
it
do.
and saving it.
There you
I
go.
do.
No,
What you
it's
do
standard
instead,
practice.
if you have to download it, that's fine. I always recommend just bookmarking any of the PDFs. Just bookmark. For the only reason is they're constantly updated and new information may be added. LB stays on top when new information comes out or when something else comes about. So I always recommend, instead of downloading, unless you have no other choice, just to bookmark it and then just go read it off the web. No, as long as the web's still available. This guy only knows when they're going to throw the switch on that one.
Well, see, there's that thing there, Dave, and
Exactly.
referring back to mine and your subject earlier today.
Yeah.
If my current situation should happen to abruptly change, I want to keep access to as much of this as I possibly can. So I have to, for my own protection, I have to download it and save it and keep it in my computer, because I cannot afford to not have access to a good 95 or percent or more of what we have going on here. LB, I sincerely do want to thank you for everything you have done. I appreciate the Red Amendment. I'm currently reading it. I started with the cover. I'm barely into like page 10, and I'm doing footnotes and the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
I want to know. Yeah, well, I'm trying to redouble what I already know and add on top of that what you have said. I want to get the whole thing, or as much as possible, in the first shot through.
Yeah, it's hard. There's been people that have told me they read it 5 times and still find more information.
Yeah,
they say the footnotes are like a whole other book.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. No, it brings more understanding. It clarifies things so much. Yeah, I mean, it has, so far, it has even clarified my own studies. Dave, appreciate you, bro. I really want to do this lexicon thing next week. Jesse, thank you very much for joining us every night. And anybody else listening, I strongly suggest you get onto that lexicon thing too. Other than that, good night, all.
Good night, Jose. Jesse, you have any final words? You got the last minute here.
Just the same as always. Thank you for the information. Glad to be here every week. I have no issue sucking up 3 to 4 hours of my time to learn good stuff. LB, it's finally nice to get to actually hear you. I've been waiting for a while, actually, since Doc first mentioned it, so it's good. You guys hopefully will be proud of me. I read the Red Amendment like I read my scriptures every night religiously. So, and it is. Jose is very right. It is it's like, you're making another book of your own with all the footnotes and everything that go with it. So I second that. And yes, we should do the lexicon thing next week. Thank you, and good night, and I will be with you guys again next week.
All right, all. Everybody be safe. Enjoy your week. God bless, and we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Night.
All right.
Good night.